Welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. This show is all about breaking barriers and changing the game. Our guests will feature some of today's most successful female entrepreneurs and other advocates of our industry as well. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, female-led entrepreneurship drives change on multiple levels. We want to empower women in the trade industry like you so you can maximize your potential, stay balanced, achieve long-term success, and claim ownership over your life. Let's get started.
Hey, welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. It's Cassie and Leslie. We're so excited today to be here with Danielle Laird with Bradford White. Yes, we're so excited. I have to be honest, when we first got in contact with Danielle, we were super stoked to even be on Bradford White's radar. So thank you for paying attention to us, Danielle, and seeing, I think we were going to run into you at AHR, or someone else maybe from AHR was going to be there. But thanks for, supporting us and paying attention to what's going on with Power Women of the Trades, and for jumping in and being a guest today. So for anyone that might not know who you are, can you give us a little bit about you?
Of course. Leslie and Cassie, thank you guys so much for allowing me to come on your great podcast. And it's so exciting to see you grow and continue to evolve as, your episodes go on. And as women in this industry, it's just great to support each other. So I think that that's so important, and we're all very proud of you. So I'm so happy to be on this podcast. My name is Danielle Laird. I work at Bradford White Corporation, and I am their sales manager of national accounts. I've been at Bradford White since about 2016. I've been in the industry since 2015. So it wasn't my first choice, but I'm really happy that I'm here. And I think a lot of us can say that.
I think that happens all the time too. Yeah. That comes up like, plumbing wasn't really where I thought I'd say. Actually, my marketing assistant, Kaylee, is with me here today. She's always with us, and she does some stuff for the podcast as well. And I always ask her, I'm like, when you graduated college, did you think you were going to be in HVAC and plumbing? And she's like, no.
Who knew?
Not at all. Who knew? And here we are, all out here just vibing and thriving and doing great.
Making it sexy.
Yeah, making it sexy for sure.
Making plumbing sexy.
Something that I thought was really interesting and amazing to know is that you were the first female sales manager for Bradford White, and you currently are still the only female sales manager with Bradford White. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Of national accounts.
Of national accounts. That's amazing.
Yeah. It is. It's really exciting. It's really humbling. And I started out within the marketing department at Bradford White. Prior to that, I worked for Affiliate Distributors. It's a wholesaler buying group. And from there, I went and I ran a marketing department at a wholesaler in the Philadelphia area. And in September of 2016, joined Bradford White. Worked on their marketing team for 3 years. And right before the 3-year mark, I just evaluated what I enjoyed and what I was good at, created that pro and con sheet and the things that I like to do and things that I saw my career going towards. And I realized that my career was going towards the sales side rather than internally with the marketing side. But I do believe that with my marketing background, it's been really helpful and unique in my sales approach. So I had presented that to my team at Bradford White, and they were incredibly supportive. I wrote up my own job description as well. And within a few months, I was brought onto the sales team. And that was in August of 2019.
I think that people don't actually recognize how closely marketing and sales are anyways, because I think no matter which way you look at it, marketing is persuasion, right? And so is sales, right? It's just like you're showing them, you're showing a product, or you're speaking about it. And I think that marketers typically can become very good salespeople if that's the mindset that they put themselves into. But I don't think people really correlate those two as being almost the same.
Well, I find it interesting that you wrote your own job description and presented it to them. So can you tell us a little more about that? Because Well, I'm guessing, I don't know, did you receive pushback about it? Or, I mean, kind of talk about how that came to be that you had to write your own job description.
Because I can initially think of like, you know, when we apply for I think about like previous places I've worked and I was going to go after a position and almost like, well, what does this marketing girl think she's doing applying for a sales manager position? So is that kind of maybe where you felt like I'm going to take this on and advocate for myself and show you why I can do it?
Yeah, so I have to credit my mentors and my circle within, I guess, Bradford White, and they are men and female, and then, you know, our Bradford White family, and then those outside of the industry for helping me and getting me the courage, giving me the courage to do something like this. It was really scary. It wasn't something that was easy. It was something, you know, that I didn't know where my future was going to be with Bradford White if the answer was no. But I had admiration for our leadership team at Bradford White and the company that we are and who we are in the industry in my heart. And so something told me that in the end it will work out if I just keep trying. And I was a college athlete, so it's my competitive side constantly takes over for me, and I'm always striving to be better. So when I created this job description, I had to present it to several people within our leadership team. And then it was pretty silent for a few months. And it was one of those things, you just keep your head down and keep working and, you know, keep growing your network. And I think my network is really a big part of what got me where I am, my network and my hard work, and that I just didn't give up on myself. And there was no part of me at one point that saw another future. And it just, something clicked in my head that this is what I wanted and this is what I'm going after, and I'm going all in. And I'm going to do it the right way. And I'm going to hope it works out. But I understand if it doesn't work out. And honestly, I don't think it really had to do anything with me being a female and me being the first female. It was more a lot. I came from the marketing side and my background was in marketing. And it's kind of how I was viewed as someone in marketing. So, but I completely agree with you guys. And you both are business owners and you know how important building your brand is. And your brand is not just, it's speaking up for yourself, but it's also your network. It's who you interact with. It's how much learning you put into the things, like how much time, how much effort, and how you continue to evolve as a person, as a woman, and become stronger every day. So it wasn't an easy journey. It was very touch and go, emotional, but in the end, it did work out. And I remember where I was when I found out, and it was so exciting. And I popped a bottle with my best friends that night. And
So that gave me goosebumps, though, because you had patience. I think that that's a good reminder to people that, just because you had identified something, you wanted it, but you were willing to just keep working for it and let the process play out. I think as women, sometimes we say we want something and then we put a deadline on it too soon and maybe cut ourselves short,
And waiting can be discouraging, especially when you're taking such a leap of faith like that. So how did you stay encouraged during that time? You've talked a lot about your circle. Can you talk a little more about how they encouraged you? How was that circle formed in your life, and how was it important to you at that time?
Yeah, so my circle was, I went to college. I played lacrosse in college. I had every aspiration to become a lawyer.
Oh, really?
My whole life. I came out of college and I didn't know if that's what I wanted to do. I enjoyed using the creative side of my brain, and that wasn't necessarily down the wall path. So, I started working different kinds of temp jobs. And my circle started, my first temp job, it grew at AD. I have very close friends and very close circle members that, are still at AD to this day. It's grown, when I worked in the wholesale side to contractors that are over there. It's grown, when I came to Bradford White, I was very involved with, even in marketing, with our contractor buying groups like Nexstar that you guys are a part of. So within those groups, within our manufacturers, reps, wholesalers, and then internally. And I just learned to network very well and, utilize that a lot for support. Didn't utilize all of them, I would have to say, but, they really encouraged me and supported me, and other manufacturers supported me, especially women leaders in, our industry, that were there to coach me and mentor me, because as women, I think you're right, we come out so strong and we come out differently and we look at things so differently than men do. And that's not always a bad thing, but sometimes it comes back like you're out of line, you're being too irrational, and you just need to be patient. And it's finding different ways to approach those conversations and approach the way you look at things. So not just, in your own head, but, bouncing ideas and things off of others, how can I look at things differently? So patience, I struggled with, I'm not going to lie. And, I have to say,
Me too, sister.
even up until probably recently, I still struggled with patience a lot in my career growth, because it was a slow growth, especially on the sales side. And, I was a marketing manager. I took a few steps back to become a sales rep. So, that was something that I was told, this is what's going to happen. In the long run, it'll be better if you work hard and things work out. So that was a huge risk. But my circles through ASA Women in Industry, the PHCC organization, our buying groups, friends and family and coworkers, and just, people that help build me up, and I help build them up. And I think that's the most important part of your circle, and it's the best feeling.
So you actually had to take a step down to be able to get to where you wanted to go. And I think sometimes we don't always all have the courage to do that. It's like, well, and I think sometimes we're all guilty of like chasing maybe like a title also of like, well, I'm a manager now, and
I don't want to go back down.
I don't want to go back down,
right.
But sometimes taking that step into that other position does help you advance your career for the long term. I always talk about you have to play the long game, and but the short game is like, it's like the right there in front of your face. It's like, it's right here. And sometimes the long game is harder to like grasp onto. So
I have a question. Okay, so you came in as a sales rep, but now you are the national sales manager. Talk about, what was the feedback when you became a rep that led you and made you different than the others that were applying for that position? I'm sure there were others to be manager. I mean, what was it about you that your superiors or whoever made that decision was so appealing and made you the right fit?
So I'm going to be honest with you. Since my sales rep job, I've had probably about 3 or 4 other titles, just slowly building my way up. It wasn't just a jump to sales manager of national accounts. I started out, helping, onboard one of our new manufacturers reps. I started out, working to help manage one of our top national accounts with our corporation. And, with that, day in and week out, I was in branches, I was in warehouses, I was on the road 3 to 4 days a week, sometimes 5. I was forming relationships at the branch level, at the regional levels, eventually earning respect at the corporate levels. I think it was my work ethic. And I think it's, at Bradford White, we think this way, but it's personally as well, just so customer centric. And our customers are not customers. They're a part of our family, and they're people that I care about. And, I have their birthdays in my phone. I know when they have a kid. I know, it's different things. And being national and being able to have that range just really opened my eyes to how big that, my network could be, and how much I really just enjoyed it, just enjoyed the different areas and enjoyed people's stories and enjoyed getting to know how they're building their businesses. And it's just my passion. And I just led with passion, to be honest. And I wish I could tell you it was some kind of formula, but it wasn't.
That's good.
I think the key there is that you connect to people, and that is sales, right? But then your connection to people has grown you a network. And then I'm sure that for the people that, your customers and whoever that you're surrounded with see that in you of how you can help them grow. I think what I really love about this conversation is when you think of power women of the trades, I think a lot of people probably thought we would just typically have, owners or employees of HVAC plumbing companies. And I think being able to have people like you on and show the different branches and the different availability
on an executive level
jobs in our space that there are, because again, like you said, you probably didn't think you would go into plumbing, right? And here you are. But I think, and that just goes back to like the high school conversation when it's like, oh yeah, I was going to be an attorney, right? That's what you thought you wanted to be. And then when I was in school, I thought I was going to be a dentist, and that's not the same, but you just kind of have to evolve through your 20s to figure that out. I think maybe even in
it's
your
a
30s.
Journey.
How did you evolve?
But not by choice. My husband is a master plumber, and he went out on his own when I was pregnant with my littlest. And my background is in oil and gas, which is huge here in Oklahoma, and it's very feast or famine. So I went through several layoffs, then they would pick me back up, and I just thought, I cannot do this again. I can't do this. So we struck out on our own. We started a new construction, put in a lot of Bradford Whites, put them in every home. And that evolved into 3 years later, basically scrapping new construction, starting over into service. And I came in, ready to go hard and go fast. And he was in the truck. I was working on the business, and it's just evolved into this.
Yeah. I mean, I think my story is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Married Oscar, and he was doing heat and air, and I thought, I have always been I wanted to be the best.
Yep.
And
competitive.
Yeah, I think you have to be a little competitive to be in this, right?
Yeah.
And so it was, I think at first he thought we would just be the local mom and pop heat and air company.
Poor Brent and Oscar.
Yeah. And then we're like, we're going global, or at least Tulsa County.
Yeah.
So that's but I think, to your point, advocating for myself in the space, having the confidence to
put yourself out there,
put ourselves out there and showcase, like, we had to learn everything that we had no clue about. I don't have a business degree. I don't have a marketing degree. I don't have anything. And that first 4 years of our business, we did zero marketing, because like the majority of our income came from my Facebook.
Yeah.
Like just sharing, and people to this day are like, you're always on my Facebook and you share, whatever. And I'm like, girl, this has been a strategy for a long time. That has been a part of the strategy. But again, I knew what the long game was, kind of like what you're saying, Danielle, of like, you knew what you wanted. I knew what we wanted, and you just got to keep pushing forward, even though sometimes forward is hard.
And we never knew what we were doing,
No.
Not at all. Neither did I.
You're talking about advocating for yourself, and
you figure it out.
Yeah, I remember looking back when Brent was in a truck and just thinking, okay, how do we do this so that we actually can change the trajectory for our family? And I remember being so scared to have conversations with these other people that I really respected, or they had such a great personal brand on Facebook and they were the experts. And I remember I would just be sliding into some DMs going, okay, what did you mean when you said this? And I would really struggle with, they're probably going to think I'm stupid. I can still find myself doing that. But honestly, it was like I was always very tenacious. If I have a question, I'm going to ask 10 people till I get an answer. And some people wouldn't answer me. They were probably like, who is this chick? Why is she asking me this? So it is really advocating for yourself. Like, you get to decide what you're going to do. You get to decide your future, and you are your best advocate. I mean, you really are. And you've talked about that and done so well. I mean, I'm looking at my notes, and I think it is still so crazy. We're the first and only female sales manager at Bradford White.
Yes, and we're working to get more women at Bradford White. We started our women's resource group. So Louise Prater and Sarah Ochoa, who are our fellow female directors at Bradford White, along with myself. We launched it this year. So we're going to see where we can grow, mentoring, just growing the females within our company, what we can do to attract more females. Because, I mean, it's our world, as you guys know, is intimidating. And I mean, starting this podcast, this is the first of its kind, what you're doing right now. And it's got to be really intimidating. We walk into a room constantly, and it's, surrounded with men that have been in this world for so long. And, sometimes we look different, and it takes some courage and sometimes a knockdown to just keep your head down and keep trying and not give up, because that's the best.
Yes, for sure. Is the women's resource group of Bradford White going to expand down to like the factory as well?
Yeah. So right now it's, in the beginning stages. So it is our Lars heating systems, everything under Bradford White Corporation, Niles steel tanks, Bradford White water heaters. So right now we have, some of our female engineers, project managers, those out there at the plant that are a part of it. We started out with a smaller, more focused group to kind of configure how we're going to grow. Our plant is union, but we are working on ways how we can, kind of come down, into that, whether it's going to be little subgroups within it that we have within, not just in Middleville, but also, our Lars plant, our Niles plant, and then, further, acquisitions down the road if that were to happen, and how we incorporate like the team as a whole. It's not just about, it's not about people that work in a corporate office or wear a blazer to work. It's, it is like walking the Bradford White plant is my favorite thing. And talking to the people is my favorite thing, because they are the heart of everything that we do and everything that our industry is. And that's why we're here.
Well, changing the game of and getting more women involved in the trade space starts with people like you and the ones that are helping you start that within your company. It starts there. And then the only way it can go is up unless someone quits. And I think that it's so important to just keep focused on that. And I think about sometimes when I'm like, what am I doing, with the podcast or with this or with that? And I always think about my daughter and Leslie's daughters and why I could get emotional with that. But just the future's female, right? But maybe what we mean by that is that you can do whatever you want to do.
You have options.
There are just options.
You get to decide.
You
right?
get to decide. I love that.
Well, kudos to Bradford White for creating a women empowerment group. That's super cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And for giving you the shot, and you advocating for yourself. I love that story of you just pushing, breaking down the walls and the nose and waiting your turn,
I think you don't know how strong you are and how much you can help others within the industry. And I really think mentorship is so important, and just whether, whatever level, or if it's in the industry or outside of the industry, it's just having those conversations with, next generation, people that are older than you, people, kids. There's a book that came out. It's called The House She Built. And I have gifted that book to every one of my friends, families, kids. And it's about women in the trades. And the goal of the book is, and this is not a sales pitch whatsoever, it is about, how can we change the narrative for, that next generation. And I look at, my niece and nephew, and my sister reads that book to both of them, and not just, Max or Lila. It's, it's about how can we change and how can we evolve? And it's just, your voice matters and your voice counts, and having those conversations and just doing everything you can for the industry that you love is so important, and it's important for the future.
I love that.
I think that's a perfect ending because I just think it was so like.
I know, and we're both going to order that book.
Yes,
we're
we
both
did.
over here writing it down as you're saying it.
Yes. Well, Danielle, we really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us today. I really think that our listeners are going to get so much from this. And if nothing else, just a reminder that confidence is key. And I hate to say it, sometimes we got to fake it till we make it, but keep advocating for yourself and keep pushing.
Keep being a mentor because you are a mentor.
Yeah, for sure.
And keep trying to find your voice.
That's right.
Don't ever give up.
When you find it, don't let it go.
And thank you guys for all that you're doing for the industry, and with this and your companies and just who you are as people, and it's appreciated and it matters.
Well, we're so honored that you guys wanted to be on our show. We were like, can you believe this?
Bradford White.
I know. Well, I immediately recognized it because that's what we put into all of our homes when we were doing new construction. You know what I mean? Because I was the one paying the bills to the part house, and it was like Bradford White, 40 gallon, Bradford White, 40 gallon. So I told Bryn, he was like, wow, that's really cool.
Well, I thank you for having me on it and having us on it, and we appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
This has been Power Women of the Trades. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review on Apple and make sure to listen to our other episodes wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.